Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She's the founder and creator of the Joy Experiment, the heart and science of creating joy, ease, and flow in your life and business. None other than Miss Roberta Ravella.
Hi, how are you,
Welcome,
Luke?
welcome. I'm fabulous, and excellent, Miss Roberta. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yes, my name is Roberta Ravella. I am the founder and creator of the Joy Experiment, and I help entrepreneurs, mostly women, but entrepreneurs create a life and business in joy, ease, and flow instead of hustle and grind. Um, I started this company after years of participating in the hustle and grind myself and feeling like that was the only way that you could do things, that you had to earn everything that way. And fortunately, I came to discover that you do not, that joy is not a luxury, it is our natural state. And
True.
creating from a sense of worthiness and loving belonging is also our natural state.
Indeed, and we salute you for doing that, Miss Roberta. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today, let's talk about anti-hustle entrepreneurship, driving outside the grind. So, you've shared that after years of chasing achievement through hustle and burnout, you asked a powerful question: what if success did not have to be so hard? Take us back to the moment the question first surfaced, and what is the happening in your life and body right before you allowed yourself to ask it?
So, the first time that question came up to me, I was probably in the mortgage business in sales as a loan officer for, oh gosh, probably about 20 years at that point or so. And my husband had been relocated. So we moved quite a long way away from where my clients were. And I was basically starting my business over, which I was kind of happy about because I was never intentional about the way I did it the first time. So I thought, well, this will solve a lot of problems for me. I'll be more specific. I'll know what I want. I won't make immature decisions. And then my business will be a lot more enjoyable. And I started taking a course with someone to help me do this. And I got an email from him that said, what are you lying to yourself about? And he was talking about metrics. He was talking about ROI and marketing things and stuff like that. And what I came to realize is that I was lying to myself about liking what I was doing, about wanting to do what I was doing, about it making me happy or me even being interested in doing a lot of it. I was very good at what I did, but that was the first time that I started to question myself. Is this really I mean, I never even allowed myself to question. I always said it was my fault. I needed more information. I need to learn something else. I need to take another course. I need to figure myself out. Like I was doing it wrong. I never. That was the first time I allowed myself to say, "Hey, what do you really want?" And so that was kind of the door, unlocked, and I peeked inside.
Yes, indeed. You did a great job, Miss Roberta, for that asking. You lost your job during the 2008 market collapse, and you've been open about the emotional toll it took on your confidence and identity. When the career that defined you was a strip away, what was the scariest question you had to face about who you were without it?
The question that came to me is, "Am I enough?" If I
Hmm.
never get back to where I was, as far as my career status, as far as my income, I had also lost my boyfriend around that time, and that relationship was very important to me. I found a lot of validation in being in that relationship, and so that was the question that came to me: are you enough? If it's just you. Oh, you're on mute, Lucas. I can't hear you. Daniel, I'm sorry.
Sorry, yes, am I enough? That's a big question mark to everybody. Many people stay stuck in a pain because they cannot envision a different reality. Was there a specific person, a book, or moment that you helped you see that another way of living and working was actually possible, not just theoretically bought for you?
Yes, I read a lot of Brene Brown in that time period.
Awesome.
And then I connected with a lady that I worked with for 2 years. Her name is Britt Lefko, and she helped me go down that road and answer those questions for myself.
Mm. Awesome. Brené Brown, highly recommended people. You've spoken about being raised with the belief that hard work without complaining is the solution to everything. When did you first realize that programming was actually costing you more than it was giving you?
Because it was never enough. It wasn't working. So it was
Mm-hmm.
working as if money is the only thing you were optimizing for. It was working if external was the only thing you were optimizing for. But even then, it would come to where I would be in periods of burnout and periods where I couldn't do it anymore and I'd have to restart. So it, it was either this isn't really the way this works, or there was something really wrong with me. So I decided to find out if there was something really wrong with me, and it turns out there wasn't.
Not Not at all. Not at all, Miss Roberta. So let's talk about the redefining success and the joy experiment philosophy. The joy experiment helps women rewrite the rules of success by leading with alignment, worthiness, and purpose. What does the worthiness have to do with business strategy, and why do so many high achiever women struggle to separate the output from their value?
So, worthiness is a baseline for everything, I think. Worthiness, love, and belonging. And when we don't feel worthy, when we don't feel love and belonging within ourselves, we'll reach for it outside. And what we've been taught in our culture, at least in the United States and Western culture, is that business, earning, income, proving, position, these sorts of things are what prove that we're good enough. They are the things that tell us that we're enough and that we're valuable. And what happens is it's never enough. If I'm having to earn my worth constantly, then it's never enough. I can never take a break. I have to keep earning it. I have to keep proving myself further and further and further, which is why you see people who are extremely successful, but they can't let go. They can't just enjoy it. They can't set it for a moment, or they do set it for a moment, and then they have to start back up again because their very worthiness, their very love and belonging is dependent upon that external validation. But when we find our love and belonging internally from ourselves, from just being, which is what makes you worthwhile, which is makes you loved and belonged, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
then what you're doing externally comes from creation. It comes from who you are as a person, self expression. And what I wanted to do with the joy experiment is show that that doesn't necessarily mean that you give away all your possessions and move to an ashram, or you give away, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But there's this school of thought that it's either or. Either I can have a successful business running in this way where I'm working all the time and I'm earning and I'm proving and I'm striving and I'm showing everybody how tough I am. And that's why I deserve this business. Or you get nothing. Or you can stay at home, or you can be a 9 to 5 and earn a small amount of money or whatever. But one is not, they're not mutually exclusive. It's just that when I
Mm-hmm.
find my validation, my love and belonging from inside of me, then what I'm putting out into the world becomes from a place of joy and peace and self-expression. Now that could be a piece of software, or it could be a piece of clothing,
Mm-hmm.
whichever. It's
Yeah.
it's to the individual person.
You've said the people who make the most money or are thinking not working hard. And what the more successful people become and less actually do. For entrepreneur listening who feels guilty when they are not doing, how do they learn to trust that thinking is actually productive?
Try it.
True. Try it.
Right? Try it.
Yes.
And I will also say to you something I say to a lot of people. What we're given for examples of healthy business around us is often not healthy business.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking at something, a business that is optimized only for income, it's optimized only for shareholder value, for scaling, for the business owner to finally feel good about themselves, it's not a business model you want to copy if you are looking for joy and creation inside of your business. So just to sit back and take the time to think through what you really want, to feel through what you really want, and allow yourself to be fully present in that is the start of, the awareness and seeing that it's possible for these things to happen.
Mm-hmm. Miss Roberta, on the Whole CEO podcast, you discuss signs that you are successfully on paper but living out of alignment. What is the most painful misalignment you personally tolerated while the numbers look good?
I think the most painful misalignment that I tolerated was that I was constantly numbing to be okay with everything. And I wasn't doing anything terrible. We were just working so much. We were pressuring ourselves so much. I was doing a lot of stuff that just I really don't align with, as far as putting sales first before people, um, and buying into the whole thing that if I didn't work so hard and I didn't put so much of myself into sacrifice, that I wasn't valuable and I wasn't worth it. I didn't deserve what I was getting. And so even though it looked great and I was successful and I was very good at what I did, inside I felt very lonely. I felt very disconnected.
Mm. You've created a self assessment tool to help people discover if they're living their values or someone else. What is a surprising value that often shows up parodied rather than authentic?
Legacy.
Perfect. Yes.
Yes. Yes,
Definitely.
we're
Why is
told that
it?
legacy is very important. That's something you should want. It's something you should strive for. And it's nothing wrong with it. It's just for a lot of people that is not one of their core values. It might be a priority to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Family's a priority to people. Their faith may be a high priority, but your values are actually about what brings you energy. It's almost like, so what are the things that, while you're doing them, you get more joy, you're generating energy, you're not constantly taking and then having to go recharge. And so a lot of times people get wrapped up in what others say is a good looking value or a nice cultural value.
Very well said, Miss Roberta, and I give you an applause for that. Very well said. When you started building the joy experiment, was there a moment where the old hassle voice creeped back in, telling you that just base entrepreneurship was not as serious enough to work? How did you talk yourself off that ledge?
So some of what happened was it wasn't happening fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
We're taught that this thing needs to ROI itself immediately, that everything needs to be based on, is this earning money? Is this profitable? Is this scalable? And not on my intuition and who I am as a person, and allowing myself the space to build something that way. It doesn't mean that something can't be profitable very quickly or whatever in that, but just for me, I really needed the space to let my nervous system feel safe and handle building and thinking through and developing this without all that pressure that I would put on myself before, as far as ROI and making sure I got something in market tested, always have a call to action and that sort of thing.
You encourage your clients to replace self doubt to self trust, confusion with clarity, and pressure with peace. Which of these three shifts, doubt, confusion, or pressure, was the hardest for you personally to release and why?
I would say self doubt. It took me a while to learn to trust myself, which is interesting because I can go back and look at every decision I wish I had made the other decision, and it would be because I didn't trust myself. But I was constantly looking for someone else's advice and someone else's approval instead of my own. And so when I learned to trust myself, then I could make decisions like, I'm going to shut down a business that's profitable and I'm good at, for one that is my purpose.
Hmm. In a LinkedIn post, you shared a story about calling your marketing mentor in frustration, and she told you stop taking from your head and talk from your heart. What were you trying to write that day, and what come through when you finally let yourself lead the heart instead?
Yes. I don't remember the exact post, but I remember the conversation, and I kept putting things like we know a lot, right? We have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
information. Most of us that are entrepreneurs, we read a lot, we consume a lot, we want to know things. That's part of
True.
being an entrepreneur. And so everything was coming from my knowledge. And I felt like if I just knew more, and I know everything that I wanted to know at this point now. So why isn't this coming the way I wanted to, more smoothly? And it feels more aligned and more energy producing, like for me, right? And it was because I was letting my information, my intellect, my knowledge overpower my inner knowing and my inner wisdom, and just allowing myself to be seen in that space coming from my
Mm.
heart.
Coming from your heart. Oh, coming to your heart for sure. You've noted that people don't make decisions based on facts and figures. They make them based on emotions and feelings. In an era of data obsession, what loss when entrepreneurs forget the basic human truth?
I feel like they start disconnecting from themselves. That's been my lived
Mm,
experience. When we
true.
disconnect from how we feel. And often what happens is when we have this type of conversation, somebody says, oh, well, these people's emotions are all over the place. Well, this is from a place of dysregulation. Again, that's an example of unhealthy expression of emotion. If I'm
Mm,
making decisions out of extreme anger or rage or resentment, or if I'm just um, hiding my emotion, and so I'm trying to make everything logical, then it's a disconnection. It's not a place of healthy emotion. And when you have healthy emotion, you'll often notice, like if you think about how you interact with your children when you're in a calm state and you're having fun with them and you're making decisions based on a peaceful state, how much different your decisions with your kids are than if you're stressed, tired, angry, stressed out. You start making decisions in a very different way. And so when we're dysregulated like that, a lot of times people will just disconnect from themselves and go for data and facts. Now, there's nothing wrong with data and facts. Of course, we want to make decision with the best amount of information available. But usually we do
mhm.
these things to rationalize our emotional decision.
True. That's true. Very well said, Miss Roberta. As a founder and creator of the Joy Experiment, what are your short term and long term goals?
Well, my short-term goals, I just published a book. It's called Open for Business, as you mentioned. So we're having fun promoting the book and doing workshops around that. Long-term goals is to continue to write books. I really enjoy writing. I'm really enjoying being back on podcasting and to see where that takes me. And we just I personally would like to get this message out for as many people as I can so
Hmm.
they don't spend as much time in hardship as I did, thinking that that's what they should do, thinking they need to earn their worthiness when their joy and their peace isn't a luxury. It's what their base is. It's what their natural state is.
Well, good luck to your goals, Miss Roberta, and looking forward for more success. And what will be a piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Well, I don't know that they want to be like me specifically. Um, I always say everything starts with awareness and then
Hmm.
allowing. Being aware of what it is that you're feeling, what's going on around you. That question that came to me: What are you lying to yourself about? What are you pretending not to know? So that place of honesty and awareness, and allowing that to be what it is. They tell us to ignore our excuses and get to work. Sometimes your excuses are the best information that you will ever have. That's a darn good data point as to what's going on inside of you. So I say, always start with awareness and be honest with yourself.
Yes, be honest, people. Honesty is the best policy. So, Miss Roberta, can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey? And thank you for that empowering advice.
Great. Definitely Brene Brown's suite of books influenced me quite a
Mm.
bit. I love reading these books. Looking back at my bookshelf over there to see what else is on there that I really
Yeah.
liked. I recently finished Untethered Soul. Really enjoyed that. Michael Singer
Hmm.
is the author. Um, and it's a philosophy of life that will direct your business and help you enjoy it and bring joy and peace to your life.
Thank you for the recommended books, Miss Roberta. And you encourage entrepreneurs to integrate playfulness, experimentation, and authenticity in their work. What does playful or playfulness look like in a grown up business with their revenue goals and client commitments?
Right. So lose the grown up and play. So,
Yes.
it depends on your situation, obviously, but I find digging around in my hobbies, making time to do something I really enjoy doing really frees your mind and your creativity so the juices can flow. I write a lot and I do podcasting and talking a lot. And when I'm not, I am like gluing and pasting stuff or scissoring
Hmm.
something. And it means nothing a lot of times, right? Like
Collabs.
whatever, the
Hmm.
paint, put some watercolors on a piece of paper. Just we're told a lot of us are told at some point you're not very good at being creative and you should probably stop and get a real job. But the real you comes out of your creativity in some form or another. There's a part of all of us that like to wonder and play, and that doesn't necessarily have to be art. It can be something
Yes.
else.
True.
Some other hobby that you love, some other, is it cooking or baking or going to the movies or my brother loves flying planes. He's in a little charity group that works on B-1 bombers of all things, or B-29 bombers of all things, and that has brought him so much creativity back into his business. So whatever it is, like, do you like to ride your bike? Do you like to run? Whatever it is that connects you with yourself in a way that you can feel creative and open will satisfy that need.
Beautifully, beautifully articulated, Ms. Roberta. So, can you please invite the listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yes, I'd love for you to check out my book. It's on Amazon. It's called Open for Business: How to Build a Business You Love Outside of the Hustle and Grind.
Yes, I think our topic for today is all about your book itself, right?
Yes, there's a lot of my
Yes,
book in there. Yes.
definitely. So, people, please support Miss Roberta Ravella, because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy for women to rise. So, I have one more question, Miss Roberta. Looking back at the woman who lost her job in 2008 and had to rebuild her identity from the ground up, what would be the whisper in the ear if you could stand beside her in the moment of uncertainty?
Oh, well, when all that was going on in 2008, and I asked myself the question, are you enough? I would have answered myself, yes, you are. Yes, I am.
Yes, people, are you enough? Am I enough? Miss Roberta Ravella, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And I'm inviting you to please do come over to my Entrepreneurship 101 and let's talk about entrepreneurship mindset.
Sounds great. Thank you for the
Ah,
invitation.
no worries. More to come, people. See you soon.
Where they can see me soon, I have a podcast myself that'll be launching soon. It's called the Joy Experiment Podcast. And I'm
Yes.